All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're putting the wild claims of AI dropshipping to the ultimate test with a real-world 7-day case study. If you spent literally any time online lately, you've probably seen the absolute explosion of content around automated e-commerce. It feels like everywhere you look, somebody's claiming they've unlocked the secret to effortless wealth using artificial intelligence. But today, we're stripping away all that hype. We're going to look at the actual mechanics of dropshipping logic, how this stuff really works. We're breaking down a pretty fascinating experiment to see if you can truly build a functional, profitable online store using mostly free AI tools and literally just one single dollar to your name.
Just listen to the sheer scale of the passive income promises floating around out there. You hear these jaw-dropping numbers. People claiming they make thousands of dollars a month in passive income, or even pulling in a staggering $600,000 in a single month just by clicking a few buttons from their couch. Crazy, right? The narrative is always exactly the same. Anyone can do this, from anywhere in the world with zero experience. It really paints a picture of a modern-day gold rush, all powered by AI. But naturally, we have to ask the million-dollar question. Is this simply too good to be true? Well, we're putting these massive financial claims to the test. We want to see if the reality of e-commerce actually matches all this hype. To do that, we're going to walk through a highly structured 7-day challenge drawn directly from our source material. We aren't just looking at the theory here. No, we are looking at the exact steps, the actual tools used, and the hard numbers at the very end of the week.
To truly test this dropshipping logic, we're operating under 3 strict rules to see if literally anyone can build this business from scratch. Number 1, the entire shop creation has to rely on free AI tools and cost under $1 single. Number 2, no fancy studios, no massive warehouses. This whole operation has to be run strictly from a laptop. And number 3, the initial store setup must be completed in under an hour. These constraints are absolutely crucial because they force us to rely entirely on the efficiency of AI and automation rather than just throwing capital or endless hours at the problem.
And this foundational dropshipping logic is beautifully simple, really. We're acting entirely as the middleman to generate profit with minimal friction. If you're new to the concept of dropshipping, it's actually pretty straightforward. You set up a digital storefront, but you don't buy or store any inventory. When a customer places an order on your site, that order gets automatically forwarded to a third-party supplier, and they ship the physical product directly to the customer's door. So you collect the retail price, you pay the supplier the wholesale price, and you just pocket the difference. You never even touch the product.
Okay, let's jump right into step 1, automating the storefront.
In the past, building an e-commerce site took weeks of coding and designing, but now, AI collapses that timeline from weeks down to literally just minutes. Approaching this with a business mind, the first thing we need is a niche with a massive, highly active market. So our case study zeroes in on sports and fitness. And why is that? Well, because the demand is enormous and it's constant. There's a great detail from our source noting that Gen Z are actually increasingly meeting up at running clubs instead of traditional nightclubs. That is a massive cultural shift toward fitness. It represents a highly engaged, younger demographic eager to buy specialized gear. You don't just pick a niche based on a whim, right? You pick it based on where the attention and the spending power are actually flowing.
So by leveraging a free AI store builder and a $1 Shopify trial, the storefront logic remains securely within our strict budget. The case study used a tool called Build Your Store to generate the site layout, pick out themes, and even write up the boring stuff like terms and conditions. Then this was hooked up to a Shopify basic plan, which offered a free trial that perfectly matched our $1 rule. Oh, and here is a fantastic pro tip from the experiment. Always integrate PayPal. The source found that having that recognizable animated PayPal button right on the checkout page significantly boosts customer trust, which, you guessed it, directly translates to improved sales.
Now, there is a serious psychological edge to using a professional .store domain to instantly signal that you're a real shop. Originally, the AI spit out a random string of characters for the web address, which, let's be honest, looks incredibly unprofessional. But studies actually show that websites using a .store domain get 87% more traffic and rank 2 times higher on Google compared to traditional domains. It just makes total sense. When people see .store, they immediately know they're entering a retail environment. In our case study, they went with something catchy, jokingly calling it Tilbury Fitness because the creator claims to have the body of a Greek god. A little bit of humor for sure, but a very serious business strategy.
Moving right along to phase 2, sourcing and pricing logic.
Look, having a beautiful store is completely useless if you don't have products that people actually want to buy. Enter an app called AutoDS. Using this, we automatically sourced trending, high-quality products proven to sell well in our fitness niche. AutoDS basically does all the heavy lifting, It identifies winning products, syncs professional photos, writes up descriptions complete with emojis, and handles the shipping. For this experiment, the AI selected 4 key items: a high-altitude breathing trainer to improve cardio, golf club bag clips to stop those expensive carbon shafts from rattling around, some classic resistance bands, and a warm jogging hat for the chilly season. The creator even ordered samples just to check the quality and confirmed the breathing trainer was built to last and the golf clips were highly effective. Because yes, quality control absolutely still matters, even in dropshipping.
Now, a completely crucial piece of dropshipping logic is the standard markup rule. Basically, a product like our $6.84 golf clips needs to be priced 2 to 2.5 times higher to ensure a healthy profit margin. So, if AutoDS charges you roughly $6.80 for those clips, you need to list them on your store for at least $13.68. This multiplier is there to ensure that after you pay the supplier and eventually pay for your marketing and platform fees, you still have actual cash left over as pure profit. Sure, it might not seem like a massive windfall on a single item, but when you apply this logic at scale, it adds up incredibly fast.
All right, let's talk marketing in part 3, the micro-influencer strategy.
So, you've got a store and you've got products, but right now, you're basically sitting in the middle of a digital desert. You need eyeballs. Now, instead of blowing the entire budget on massive internet celebrities, the smart logic points directly to micro-influencers. Macro-influencers, we're talking those with 500,000 to 1 million followers, charge astronomical fees that would instantly obliterate our lean startup budget. But micro-influencers, who typically sit between 10,000 and 50,000 followers, they are an entirely different story. They're affordable, they're accessible, and as the data shows, they are remarkably effective for e-commerce.
And here is exactly why they're so effective. Smaller audiences are highly engaged, they are incredibly loyal, and they're just much more likely to actually buy the product. According to data from Social Bakers highlighted in our source, micro-influencers boast up to a 60% increased engagement rate compared to macro-influencers. And even better, they drive a 20% higher conversion rate. Because their audience is smaller, it feels way more like a real community. When a micro-influencer recommends a product, it feels like a recommendation from a trusted friend, rather than just some paid celebrity endorsement.
To put this into practice, for just $50, the case study partnered with an account called The Grace Brothers. They put together this quick, slightly off-the-wall, high-energy Instagram story featuring our breathing trainer just to grab their audience's attention. Seriously, it was a video of a guy wearing the trainer in the gym, looking like he's wearing a full-blown hospital respirator. It was weird, it was funny, and it perfectly matched that fast-paced style of Instagram stories. It stopped people from swiping past and pulled them directly to the product link. And the best part? All of that targeted attention cost a mere $50.
Which brings us to the final hurdle. Section 4. Calculating the final profit.
Okay, 24 hours later, the influencer story went live, the link was clicked, and the clock ticked down. Let's actually trace the exact flow of money here. The store generated 12 sales of the breathing trainer, but 2 of those were tests by the creator, which leaves us with 10 genuine purchases. Those 10 sales generated a gross revenue of $170.85. But wait, we gotta subtract our expenses. $39.50 went automatically to AutoDS to cover the wholesale costs and shipping. Then we subtract the $50 for the influencer marketing and that $1 fee for the Shopify trial. Add all that up, and our total expenses come to exactly $90.50. So, drumroll please. Here is our final bottom line. We walk away with $80.35 in pure net profit. A totally genuine automated profit achieved with minimal effort and practically zero startup capital. Now, I know what you might be thinking. $80 might not sound like life-changing money, but you have to look at the bigger picture here. This was achieved in just a few days. We used artificial intelligence to build the entire infrastructure for under $1, and we leveraged a single, cheap micro-influencer post for our marketing. All the traditional heavy lifting, the inventory, the shipping, the complex website coding, it was all completely bypassed. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on. If the mechanics of this explanation clicked for you, what happens when you scale this logic to 20 products? Think about it. If just one product, promoted through one micro-influencer, nets you $80 in a day, what happens when you have 20 winning products ticking along in the background, being promoted by a whole network of specialized creators? That is exactly where dropshipping logic transforms from a neat little $1 experiment into a massive, highly scalable digital business.
Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep questioning how you can leverage these incredible tools in your own ventures. See you next time.